Hello there, and welcome to another session of On the Couch with Canon and CameraPro. Tonight we'll be touching on a wide range of photography and videography, and obviously drone use as well. Just before we do, feel free to ask any questions tonight through the YouTube channel. If you have any questions, I will try and get to it best I can. I'll address it with Damien and we can go from there. But without any further ado, let me introduce Damien Bredberg, a multifaceted photographer, videographer, and drone shooter as well.
Yep.
Damien, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Hi, guys. Yeah.
Damien, for those who don't know much about you, would you like to just share a bit about yourself and how you got involved in photography?
Cool. Well, currently I'm an advertising and commercial photographer.
Yep.
I live here in Gold Coast, or close to Brisbane. Used to be in Brisbane, now Gold Coast.
Yep.
But that doesn't stop me. I'm traveling nationally quite often. I'm interstate every 2 weeks,
Right.
Which is the beauty of what I do.
Yep.
But that could be for drone work, that could be for stills work, or it could be for video work.
Yep.
And I'm loving that diversity and that versatility at the moment. And it's also expanding my clientele because I have so much, I wouldn't say so much to offer, but I might just have another skill set over, or give me that edge over another photographer. But how I got into this, and maybe why I expanded into drone, is to, I guess, just offer that extra level of service, that extra level of value, to give me that edge.
And diversity for clients.
And that's how the clients, or that's how the market has been going.
Yes.
Clients are getting more demanding, which is okay.
Yeah.
Budgets are getting smaller,
Yeah.
and the platform that that clientele want to reach and promote on is now inclusive of video and stills. And drone was just another tool to enhance the perspective of video. So I got into that very, very early on.
Yeah, great.
And it's done me wonders.
Yeah, and like in terms of starting, did you work underneath another photographer? How did your, I guess, big break come about?
The big break probably came through a little marketing piece that I did, thanks to a couple of local creatives here in Brisbane.
Yep.
But how I started in photography was my progression going from a failed wannabe surf photographer, which was just following my passion.
Yeah.
And just, that was the old days of going to the chemist, buying an underwater disposable camera, going for a surf, getting it processed for 24 hours, spending something like $20, which was crazy back then on no money, and getting back these crappy photos.
So that's what you wanted to do. You wanted to be a surf photographer.
Yeah, 100%. I wanted to photograph my mates. I wanted to photograph the formation and the beauty of the ocean, and that just sucked, and I was terrible at it. And I still suck at it.
Right.
And I just, hats off to those that do it really well, because I know the logistics and the pain that you've got to go to get the right shot.
Yeah, interesting. So it was more so after, I guess, the initial, down feeling about your imagery. How did you pick yourself up? How did you dust yourself back up and do what you do?
Look, I wasn't upset with anything. It was just a learning phase. I never really picked up a camera prior to the disposable, so nothing was going to be good. But what I did learn was that I was enjoying it. I was enjoying the photographic capture side of it.
Yes.
And then just by chance, I won a competition through KFC back in the day, where that was my first job, to travel to Bathurst with a racing team, which was Price Attack Racing Team back in those days. So I had to buy a camera. I bought a Canon from Ted's camera store back in that dirty word. No, I'm kidding, Ted's. I bought a Canon. I bought the kit, and I went and took some photos. And luckily, I had a AAA pass, which just had me access to anything and everything. Yeah. And I took some okay shots, and then it wasn't long after that someone reached out to me, I think later in that week at Bathurst, and said, "Oh, can we have a look at your photos?" And I had them printed. I made contact with the editors, and they said, "These are really good.
Wow.
Do you want some money for them?" I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
You can get paid to do this?" Like I was just so naive and so dumb and so stupid that I didn't think it it was a career.
Yeah.
Even though there were these guys all around me with massive lenses.
Yeah.
It just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So I was offered money and I thought, okay, this is cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this.
Okay.
So I then, thanks to my father, who he physically drove me to the local wedding photographer down the road.
Yep.
His name was Stephen Jones from Marana Photography, who still to this day is such a mentor idol of mine.
Shout out, Stephen.
Shout out to Stephen Jones. He gave me everything that I needed to propel my career. He gave me the leg up. He taught me everything about business, photography, weddings, portraiture. He wasn't so much in the commercial advertising space, but it was more wedding and portraiture.
Yep.
And at that time, I thought I really enjoyed that. And I was really enjoying working underneath him. I was meeting all his connections.
Yeah.
So through his network of clientele, his network of photographers, and his wealth of knowledge, he really propelled me really, really quickly, which was awesome. And I owe everything to that guy.
Yeah.
And guys like Ian Wilkinson, Rob Heyman, the list goes on.
And are we still film photography at this stage?
This is film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this is film. So this was back in, I think, like 1998, 99.
Wow.
98 it would have been.
Are you using your own camera, or are you borrowing
Both.
at the moment? Yeah.
Both.
Okay.
So I got into, it was all Canon, and then I got into medium format through him.
Yeah, right.
Through Stephen Jones.
Yep.
So, and not only at his studio, I was doing black and white printing, I was doing color darkroom printing.
Yeah.
So I got to learn, I was doing framing. I kind of learned everything from the initial meeting all the way to the photographic capture, and then the business side afterwards, and then developing the images that we took.
Yeah, wow.
And then framing them. It was really, really cool. So I got that whole experience.
Like a real hands-on
Very much.
process. And I guess that's something that I guess we take a bit for granted now, because we have all the apps and all the editing software that we can use, but using it actually to do any of that stuff, you were doing it yourself in hand.
I was. Yeah.
Time after time. You know, if something was a little bit wrong, it would take, ages to do, obviously.
Absolutely. And I was very fortunate that Stephen allowed me to make mistakes and to have that hands-on approach, where a lot of people would have been so precious about it and said, no, I don't want you touching it.
Yeah.
But he really believed in me.
Yeah.
But I strived and I wanted to impress him. I wanted to perfect the art. So it just made a good partnership.
Sounded like you got a true mentorship.
I did. It was the best thing ever.
Which is great, because I guess if you're an older photographer or an older generation photographer, knowing that someone else is in your studio or a protege, they can at any point take away a lot of your skills or clientele. So that's a really nice thing that he.
But I respected that. Yeah, I respected that. I was never going to step on his toes, and I think the more I learnt the craft of wedding and portraiture, the more I realized it wasn't for me.
Yep.
So that's when I joined college to learn all facets of photography.
Right.
And then I sort of grew a love for advertising and commercial.
And when did you sort of make the decision, I guess, to challenge yourself and to go it a bit more alone?
Probably when I went to college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to college 2000, 2001 and learnt under Doug Spout in the Toowoomba College.
Yep.
And that guy is just a god. He was a god back then, still is a god. And again, he took me under his wing and really pushed me.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Doug and the other amazing teachers, I probably wouldn't be where I am today as well.
Amazing.
But, I stuck at it. I was just a persistent little shit.
Yeah.
I just had to be good at it.
Yeah.
No matter what.
So after school, it was pretty much straight into photography. Is that pretty much how it eventuated, or are you doing it throughout schooling at this point?
No, I just got a dead-end job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of there's time that lapsed between KFC, which was a through school job. And then time lapsed. I wasn't doing much. I was just doing stuff in the backyard, taking photos of spiders and flowers and sunsets, all the usual stuff that someone does with a camera.
Yeah.
And then not much happened. I had a dead-end job here in Brisbane City, and I just wasn't enjoying it. It was just a means to an end. It was just a wage, but not a passion.
Yeah.
And I had to do something about it.
For sure. And then when developing it, obviously you're quite passionate about it and you worked pretty damn hard, obviously in those early days. When did you find you were starting to hit your straps or finding your niche within photography?
Still am.
Yeah.
Because
Because you dabble in all that stuff.
Yeah, I tried it.
Yeah.
And I still to this day feel like I haven't cracked it.
Right.
You know when people say, "Oh, you got to stop and smell the roses, pat on the back."
Yeah. Mindfulness.
I don't do that.
Yeah.
And it's probably not a good thing. I think we all need to, maybe for mental health. But I don't feel that I've ever cracked it. I don't feel I've ever reached my potential. So I'm forever striving. But maybe to loosely answer your question, it was probably a few years after college where I was getting a few commercial clients of my own. Like everything was because of me. It was because my work was good. It was because my marketing was working. It's because my sales was working. People then were like, cool, we're going to give you a job. It's like, shit, really? All on my hand? Like, yeah. And that was cool. And I think I was making my first year, I think it was like $18,000. And I was stoked. I was living with my mum and dad. Admittedly, I didn't move out of home until I was 30.
That's fine. That's fine.
Stay there, kids, for as long as possible.
We won't name any names.
I want to move back with mum and dad. So yeah, I was making 18 grand, but I was so happy. I was making less money, but I was happier. Nice. And then year after year, it just got more and more successful, and income came in, but the money wasn't what I was chasing. Yeah.
And obviously, I guess now a big part of your work is based around joining forces, I guess, with creatives. Is that something because it was instilled on you at an earlier time in photography that you find you like to approach it now? Like, do you feel like you're a bit of a mentor within photography?
I like to be. I like to give back. I'm very much an open book, and I think the only way our industry can grow is to work together and to share wealth and share knowledge, whether that be give a leg up financially to someone or give them some equipment for free or prepay their invoices or give back with knowledge. I'm all for that. And I do a lot of it.
For those that don't know as well, I'm going to put Damian on the spot here, but I have seen him working pretty damn hard in the flood cleanup as well. I know his partner has been doing a fair bit to help there. Why was that important to you?
Can I speak honestly?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess everything is honest.
This is your platform.
I work in an industry, Jackson, that's so fickle. It's so pretentious.
Yeah.
It really is. And although I love it, I love my job. And I can't say and I'm not going to name names. It's just not how it is. But as a general rule, the advertising industry, it's a little bit fake. And there's no loyalty. There's no, how could I say? It just doesn't fill your soul too well. You know, you've almost sold your soul to the industry. So to get away from what I do for a living and a passion, I needed to fill my cup. You know, I wanted to be a good person and give back for no benefit other than, you could say it's selfish, but I did it to help others because that makes me feel good. And I'm not chasing the money. I'm not chasing the fame or anything like that. It's just something that I'm lacking in my day-to-day life.
Oh, that's great. That's I like that. We like honesty here. I appreciate that.
So sorry if that's too honest. Sorry, all my clients.
2022.
I love you. But they all say the same.
Yeah. No, I think why people hire you, I think, in a lot of ways as well, it's because you are yourself, right?
I think so. It's easier that way. Yeah. It's easier to be yourself. It's easier to be happy. Yeah. And you know what's the beautiful thing about going down to Lismore and helping is the people that you meet. Yes. They could be the wealthiest person or the poorest person. Yeah. But you connect with them all on the same level. Yeah. There's no judgment. And I love that. Yeah. It's so beautiful. No, it's great. A really good place to be. And the positivity, surprisingly, was just overwhelming. Yeah. You'd almost just leave every day in tears just from joy, not from sadness. Yeah, wow. And you would know this, Damian, too. Oh, sorry. There's a gentleman off camera called Damian.
Damian's behind the scenes. We have two Damians with us tonight. But yes, so perfect. So that's great. We really appreciate that. And obviously, you know, it must feel damn good to give back too.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah. And after obviously dealing with some clients out there that are just worried about end figures and end results. It must feel quite freeing to be able to do something like that where there's no strings attached.
100%.
Yeah.
And you need that. And I think once you can be happy within yourself, you can do what you do better.
Yeah.
I know that probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think once you're fulfilled, the rest just comes naturally, you know, and you can share that with other people.
Yeah.
But if you're disgruntled and unhappy, it's going to show in your work.
Yeah.
It just will. You don't want to be there.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's really good.
Important.
And obviously dealing with larger clients when there's a massive budget involved, how do you approach things with the client? Are you pretty honest from the get-go that this is who you are and this is what you want to deliver, and if you don't want it, then too bad?
100%. And I think it goes back to what we're saying. Honesty and transparency is everything.
Yep.
I often say to my mentorees or those that I'm helping or even fellow colleagues, I think it's easier just to be yourself and transparent than rather hold these lies and pretend you're someone else.
Yep.
Because eventually it will show. And you can't pull the wool over the client's eyes for too long.
Yep.
You can't say, oh yeah, I'll deliver that and I can do this.
Yeah.
When in reality, I just can't sometimes.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm always super upfront.
Yeah.
And what I say to these people, clients, mentorees, is that I play the long-term game. I'm a real believer in longevity.
Yeah.
A real believer in relationships and not the check. Yes, I could charge more. Yes, I could lie till the cows come home and say I can do it.
Yeah. Or you could blame a wide range of things why you haven't done the job.
100%.
Yeah.
And I could take that money and run. But the problem is the reputation is going to catch up to me and word will get around town and then I'll make no money.
Yeah.
I'm better off just playing the long-term game, just, a slow burn. And I think that works well.
Yeah.
And I think that's been one of the biggest contributors to my success is my reputation.
Yep.
I don't do any marketing.
No. That's one thing I noticed.
Which is surprising.
Yeah, one thing I noticed, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, it's not something I personally, from optics level, you're not a huge believer in.
Yeah.
Because I think it's word of mouth for you and I think it's
100%.
networking for you, right?
Yeah.
Which is, it's different. We talked about it a little bit off air that I think nowadays you've got to have a subscription package or a Lightroom preset or something, to keep people coming back or, stories every day, but it's not something you do.
No, for me, it's the product and let the product and service speak for themselves. Almost like I kind of consider myself the McDonald's of photography.
Yeah.
I'm not the greatest and I'm not bad, but I'm consistent.
Yeah.
I turn up, I do a risk-free job and I do my best and everyone's happy every time.
Yeah. Nice.
I just don't stuff up.
Yeah.
And I make sure I don't. I make sure I do the preparation. I make sure I do a good job. And don't get me wrong, there are times where you're freaking out and stressed or you're angry and gears breaking or a light falls.
Yeah.
But then that's your job as a professional to be the duck on water and just smooth sail, make sure it's all calm, but stress on the inside.
Yeah, sure.
But that comes down to your character, your personality.
Yeah.
It's like who you are.
Yeah.
Your job as a professional is to make the experience beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, great. And in regards to clients and how they approach you, is that something more so you get your style of work? Do you see a particular client and you approach them, or do they approach you and say this is your style, but could you do something a bit differently? Or is it something that you need to feel, I guess, one with and a connection to the work that you might be doing for a client?
I'll try and answer that quickly.
Sorry, a multitude of
yeah,
questions,
it is. I'll try and answer that quickly. I guess I'm fortunate that I've built a style where people know what that style is and clients come to me. And they'll often say, I want a Damien Bredberg. I want a piece like that. I love what you've done here. I want one like that. So I'm very fortunate. But that's probably only 10, 20% of my clientele. Then there's a good chunk of it, which is just day in, day out, commercial and advertising, which is shoot this product, shoot this person, go to this event, capture this car, whatever it might be. And yes, I think then I bring my own professionalism, which I think is also my style. It's my McDonald's. I bring my consistency. I dress nicely. I'm courteous, I have great customer service, and I deliver a good result, and I package it up, get it out the door really quick.
Yeah.
And I think that's, the 60 to 70% of what I do. Then you've got
That's the non-fancy sort of stuff, I guess. So that's your day-to-day more, your
100%.
crust. Yeah.
It is. That's your bread and butter.
Yeah.
That's where the money is. Yeah. It's not always in the beautiful folio work.
Yeah. And I guess one big thing that we've talked about for yourself is I guess the community aspect, or encouraging others, or having people on set that you find value in, but you also appreciate and respect.
100%.
How do you go about approaching a team for a particular body of work, or how do you go about finding particular creatives that that are going to work or gel with you?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in finding the right person for the right job. I really believe in that.
Yeah.
And I'm very fortunate that here in Brisbane and Gold Coast, and even in Sydney, I've got teams that come with a good reputation, come with great proven experience in stills, motion, and can even fly drones. So all my guys and girls, they can all do my job.
Yeah.
What they probably lack is just my network of clientele. They could probably do my job better. So I let them lead. I let them have that experience as well on my shoots.
Yep.
And they're appreciative of that.
Yep.
I'd like to think so.
Yep.
And I'm appreciative. So it's not, we don't go into a shoot that anybody is higher or lesser. I like to think we're all on the same level, because we're all there as a team, right?
Yep.
Despite that I'm the photographer and they're my assistant, as far as I'm concerned, we're there on a team, working as a team to give my client the best result.
Yeah.
I know that sounds really corny and cliched, but that's all the client matters. That's all they care about is the result. And if we can work harmoniously together, we're going to get a better result.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. And I think I find those people just through things like this. The more I talk, people go, Damien sounds like an okay guy.
Yeah.
And they come to me, and vice versa. I see people talking, or their reputation gets out there. I want to work with them.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's less about their skill that they have on set, but it's more their character.
Right.
And they're the people I like to be on set with.
Yeah, great.
It's really important.
You have, obviously, given some larger jobs, you do have quite a number of people on set, but every time, like, obviously we've had Damian here at CameraPro a number of years ago, leading a class. I've seen you at the Canon Light Awards as well, created some beautiful imagery, which we'll show soon. How do you make the team come together? Is there, like, do you go through it with a meeting process?
Whips. Yeah, do this, offset it. It's just like, do this, get that. There's a little bit of that.
Yeah, okay.
It's pressure. No. I think I like people to believe in the vision.
Yeah.
I like to also create something that hasn't been created, so it's unique. So it gives the experience, it gives a great experience for everyone. And I think people believe in me, which I think is really beautiful. I think that's awesome. And I think that does create a team naturally. People want to jump on board and come to my workshops and want to help me. And I'm very fortunate. It's
fun. I feel like people are saying it's fun.
It is fun. Yeah. And I try to make it fun. And it should be fun. Work should be fun. We're very, it's amazing how loose our workplace can be. And we can pump the music. We can wear bare feet. We can rock up scruffy sometimes. Yeah. But if we deliver a good result and the experience is great, no one cares.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
It's really cool. So I try and allow a good experience for everyone, whether it be the assistant, the coffee maker, the producer, the client. I think, again, we just bring everyone onto the same level and just go there, have fun, but do your job well.
That's great. And I guess what I've touched on before when speaking to you is the level of energy that you seem to be able to create on a day-to-day basis. Where's that stem from? Is that more so a work ethic thing?
Probably ADHD. I don't know. It's medical. I don't know.
Because I feel like, as you talked about it, it's something, because I think it comes from passion, which you've talked about to me before. Yeah. It's about creating the things you obviously like to do.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Well, if I wasn't passionate, I wouldn't want to get out of bed. I wouldn't want to go to the shoot. I love getting out of bed. I love going to create something. I love working with my clients.
Yep.
So it's not a task.
No.
It's not a job. It's almost just a way of life.
Yep.
So it's very easy. And I think that just breeds energy. But having said that, I've just recently joined the gym, and I noticed not going to gym the last few weeks. Like I had a 10-month break of gym.
Yes.
I was sluggish and I was boring. I was negative.
Yeah.
If something didn't go my way, I'd be quick to jump on a negative perspective and blame others or blame it for why it happened rather than look internally. And since going to gym now, I feel lighter on my feet. I feel healthier. I feel like a spring, and I just want to get into stuff now, which I'm really enjoying. So I think that's definitely playing an important role in my life at the moment. And it was prior to that, prior to the 10-month break.
I think that's a super valid point, because you can get, like, work can be stressful and you can just go home, go to bed, and wake up the next day. But nothing will change unless you push yourself that 100%. Little bit extra.
And you've got to make time for it.
Yeah.
We've all got busy lives, but you just have to make time.
Yeah.
And if expelling energy breeds energy.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've got a few questions that I'm trying to get through here. We got a bit of a shout out from Brendan Diekman.
Oh, yes.
Damien is such a pleasure to work with. He keeps it real.
Great client.
You feel at ease on shoots, and the work benefits as a result, speaking as a talent on a number of his shoots.
Oh, awesome.
So that's a good shout out.
Thanks, Brendan.
Thank you, Brendan. Gustavo, he wants to know, Damien, can you please explain the creative process? We'll touch a bit into your creative process soon, but the Ipswich campaign specifically, the final photos are amazing and definitely help their growth. Congratulations. Just quickly on something like your creative process from the starting point. All right. How does that work? What does that look like?
So this is where it gets really depressing and really awkward. Okay. So my creative process starts with a bottle of red wine.
Yep.
Imagine this. All right.
I was going to say on the toilet.
I feel like we all
to say on the toilet.
We should, well, sometimes good thinking time. Although I get my job done, I'm in and out.
Yeah, right.
So there's not much thinking time.
Yeah.
But I feel like we need to create it. But starts with a bottle of wine. I dim the lights.
Yep.
My partner's gone. She's gone. I was like, all right, babe, you go do whatever you need to.
Yeah,
so this is my time now.
Yeah, sure.
I don't kick her out. She's usually just doing something.
Yeah.
So I dim the lights, bottle of wine, sketch pad, pen, and then I put on really depressing music.
Okay.
I put on like haunting music, which could be like Indian chants, Himalayan chants.
I was thinking more Radiohead, but anyway.
No, definitely not. It's too upbeat. And then Enya's a beautiful classic. So I play a lot of Enya. Yeah. I play things that are very whimsical, very soft, very mellow.
Right.
Something that I don't know why, but I just do. And I really enjoy it. And it almost gets me into this state of calmness and thoughtfulness and creativeness. I don't know why, but it works. Okay. I found that it works.
When did you find that process? Like how far are we going back to you put on some dark music one night and you got a bottle of red wine?
Yeah, probably because I was going through a bad breakup or something.
Yeah, right.
And there happened to be a pad there and I was like, oh shit, I've got an idea.
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about my ex-girlfriend. I'm thinking about some amazing photos.
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't know when it started, but I do remember the AIPP.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's no longer around.
It was quite big. It was quite big.
It was big. So every year they had awards, and the awards were pretty significant.
Yeah.
And you'd have to create 4 images.
Yep.
And it was a goal of mine every year to create 4 awesome images. And I did. And I did it year on year on year and won Australian Photographer of the Year or in my category every year.
Those awards was like the cream of the crop at that point.
Yeah, it was. It was probably phasing out, but the who's who of photography.
Yeah, exactly right.
It was really important, particularly in that domestic market. Not so much in commercial and advertising, but it had some pretty good ranks. It had some credibility, and it had those wanky titles you could put under your name, which people were like, whoa, you must be amazing.
That's your email
it's
sign
like,
That's your email sign sorted.
100%. So when that time came around, I would find the music, I would have a bottle of wine and I'll just sit in the darkness or dim candle lights or dim lights of any source and just sketch.
Yeah.
Whether it be a good sketch or a shit sketch, but I would think. And it's almost just starting with a clear head. But to maybe expand further on Gusto's comment, it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's all good and well, but how do you get that idea down on paper? Well, for me, I think like any artist, an idea often comes from past experiences.
Yeah.
It comes from what you're feeling.
Yeah.
It comes from what you've experienced or seen.
Yeah.
So I think drawing, just like a musician, they often write about what's happened.
Yeah.
A breakup, a love affair, whatever it might be, family, or a great time at the park. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I tend to, it's amazing how my work sometimes goes quirky and humorous, and then it goes a bit dark, or then it becomes a bit lovey.
Yeah.
And I've never done this, but I reckon if you followed the pattern, it would probably be quite spot on and reflective of where I was emotionally at that time.
True.
Subconsciously, you're putting down on a paper what you're going through.
And it's a good message to people out there who are going through a certain emotion, and instead of, I guess, blocking it out, what do you do to capitalize on that? And that's obviously something that's part of your, because I've spoken to music artists who said to me, you know, when things are going right in their life, that's when they find it most difficult to make music.
I'd agree with that. I really would.
Yeah. So,
and I think if you get to that roadblock, maybe just go to that default. Okay, what's going on in my life right now, and how can I interpret that?
Sure.
Bang, you'll come up with like 3 or 4 images like that, I reckon.
Fantastic.
You're really good.
Fantastic. That's some really good insight and really good tips for people at home there.
100%.
Especially if you're dealing with something like, as we all, I find in the age of social media, just take a break. Like, stop comparing yourself to others, and, you know, as you said, get some alone time in.
Yeah, well, stop trying to look like others.
Yeah.
You know, as well.
Yeah.
Draw upon those experiences.
Yep.
And it's a good outlet. It's a beautiful vent. My last Canon images workshops that we did were exactly that.
Yep.
I was still emotionally hurt. And by producing those 2 images, it's amazing how it created such a positive outcome for me.
Yeah.
Like venting it and producing it and then looking at this and going, really impressed with that. I'm really happy.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you can turn the event around into something great.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm very grateful for that as well.
Amazing. And obviously we've talked about this as well, the teaching side of your photography. It's something you haven't done since probably CameraPro's last festival, which is probably about 3 years ago now. Is that something you want to explore again, and sort of those big stage sort of moments where you can go through that process again?
Definitely. I would like to think I'll do it before the end of the year.
Yeah. Okay.
Whether it be a workshop with you guys or a workshop somewhere privately, I don't know. But my goal is to produce another big composite this year.
Great. And how many composites now have you done in total? I'd assume quite a number now.
Maybe 10 ish.
Yeah. Is that something you feel like you're most known for in the wider photographical community?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any favorites? Obviously, we want to pull up the screen here maybe and have a look at some images that you want to talk about.
Yeah, look, I think probably your clients and the people at home that know me have probably seen a lot of it, my older stuff. But maybe my more recent one might be more reflective of the current time and the latest practices and what we're doing. So the one I did for Pink Flamingo might be the most topical.
Fantastic.
And newer or fresh for those people who have seen all my old stuff.
Yeah, fantastic.
So I do have that. I've even got a little behind the scenes video if people are keen to check it out or watch it.
Yeah, great.
We can play that.
I think people at home would want to see that.
So I'm going to bring it up on my computer. What I'm going to bring up is the image first, so that way people can get an idea of what it is, which is here.
There we go. So this is the finished article. Now, explain what this was for and what this was about and what this means to you.
So the Pink Flamingo on the Gold Coast, which is a live cabaret burlesque entertainment venue, came to me and said, we want a Damien Bredberg.
Okay.
Which is like the ideal client. And they're a wonderful client, and they're still a wonderful client. And they basically said, we need some advertising material. We want one cool image to reflect all our shows.
Yep.
I think they have about 5 shows. but they wanted to encapsulate it in one shot. I'm like, oh, shit, okay, right. And they want to capture the venue.
Right.
So it was a big ask. It was a challenge.
For sure.
And within a budget of $10,000, which is not bad. People might say, well, $10,000 for one photo, that's a lot of money.
I think that's modest.
It's amazing how much work does go into it.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of thought, a lot of planning, a lot of headaches, and a lot of trying to dissect. So what happened? So I'll try and talk through the process.
Yeah, go.
So effectively, we go, we have a meeting. Then we walk through the place and we look around and I'm like, cool, great, go home, think about it. I then came back, I think the shoot from the sales meeting to the shoot was a couple of months. It was quite a fair time.
Yep.
So about halfway, I went back to the venue and I went around with a mobile phone and took a shitload of shots. Then I downloaded them onto my computer. And I'm sorry I don't have all these shots.
No, that's okay.
And I tried to build an environment that could show the whole venue. Because it's like a 3-level venue.
Yep.
It's got multiple bars and like, I don't know how I'm going to show this in one shot.
Yeah,
It's just not possible.
Yeah.
So anyway, so it dawned on me, it's like, well, let's just go back to basics. What I didn't want to do was spend too long on it at the cost of my other clients. But I also wanted to do a really good result for my Pink Flamingo client. So I thought, well, let's go back to basics. If I want to do a composite, I can shoot it all in studio. I can shoot everything individual and then piece it together. Problem is there was going to be way too many moving parts.
Sure.
And that's just very risky. So I did the locked off approach. So it might be easier to talk through a couple of these.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go.
Okay.
So I did a locked off approach, and a locked off composite effectively is leave your camera, do not touch it.
Right.
Make sure you don't vibrate it, make sure no one's standing near it, and you just move the people around the space. So you move your lights and you move the people.
Yeah.
So it's easy. And then you just mask them in.
Okay.
So here we shoot little elements.
Yeah.
And this is shooting one group. So we shoot the back group.
So starting from the back group, you're adding in then a bit more props and adding in more people and obviously seeing how it's going. So you leave the camera where it is at this stage? Like
100%.
Right, okay.
Do not touch the camera, do not move it. And I just move the lights.
Yep.
And then shoot right side. And then what we did, it's hard to see here and it's not great. But there are people back here. So what I actually did, if we go back here, that's the venue looking one direction. So what I had to do, I actually had to mathematically calculate, well, what's the distance from here to the camera and what's my lens height? And then we flipped the camera. So we moved the camera to the other side of the venue looking back at this location up here. So you can see here, this is now upstairs.
Yep.
To get the right distance and perspective for these people. And then for these people up there. Now, yes, the background is going up and down in height, but it's just changing compositionally to bring it all together.
Yeah.
So that way I'm not shooting everything individually and having that risk of it being out of whack, out of height, out of perspective, and away from its natural light source. And then you start tweaking the file, you start adding these other elements that we did shoot individually, and you can do that because there's no right or wrong place for them. And then you start to add the elements, the fun elements, just to bring it to life, bring a few extra bits, and then just final flares and grading. Now, admittedly, I didn't do all the retouching in this. This was done by a local guy called John English, who I think he must have spent around 3 days, maybe more, actually compositing it together. And then he handed me the PSD file, which is very generous of him. Not all retouchers do that, by the way, but I like to work with retouchers that are okay with it, because then I can add my flair, I can do my tweaks and changes.
Yep, great.
So then I didn't do a lot. John did an amazing job, and I just added a logo. I think I changed some color and some water and bits and pieces here and there.
Fantastic.
So that was that was a really cool one. I've got a little video
That's
which
epic.
I might show of us shooting it.
Yes, please.
You want to see that?
A bit more of a behind the scenes.
Yeah. All right, here we go. I think you're getting audio there.
Yep. There you go. So this is setting up on the day.
This is the day, and it was just a one-day shoot.
Yep. Wow.
I had 2 assistants. That's Caleb,
Yep.
and I had Corey, and I had 1 work experience girl.
Wow.
I love to have work experience, and that's Ariana work experience. I enjoy having work experience people and bringing them along
Yeah, for sure.
to shoots just to show them how it actually all happens.
What better way to learn than on the job? So doing it all in one day, obviously you can't do any reshoots. How are you fundamentally making sure you've covered all your bases here?
Right here. So I slowly build it live in front of the client. So you can see here, I've got my shots coming through, and then I actually cut them out very badly, very poorly, and start to composite it live.
Yeah, right.
So I make sure that way no performer, no actress is being hidden.
Yep.
So I can shoot it, drop it in a Photoshop, move that person left or right.
Are you in the, would you describe yourself as being in the creative flow at these points? Is this what you really love to do, getting in the moment?
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
I'm like it's almost like I have autism on shoots like this. I just go in my zone.
Yeah.
I don't
Just dialed in.
I don't care what I'm saying, doing, looking.
Yeah.
I'm just in my zone. I'm just doing my thing.
Fully.
And I love it.
Fully lost
Right.
in the moment.
And then at that night time, like I just crash. I'm gone.
Yeah.
Like I give it my all.
Yeah.
And I'm stupid on set, as you can see.
So what did the day look like? What time are you arriving? What time are you getting out of there?
I think we probably arrived around 7:30 a.m. and we didn't start shooting till probably about 9. And it wasn't till maybe 6 p.m.
Yep.
we got out, which is not too bad. So it was a quick and fast day.
And is the client giving you freedom of expression here? Like, are they just saying, I want a
100%.
Damien Bredberg special, you just do whatever?
They were completely on board. They had a rough idea of
Yep.
what I would deliver.
Yep.
So I did a rough scamp and I said, this is what I want to go for. And they just went, yep, you
Yep.
just do it. We're on board.
Fantastic. And for those gear guys at home, gear guys and girls, what sort of gear are you using for I guess for a shoot like that, or typically?
Yep. I was shooting the Canon 5DSR, I think I was, with a 11 to 24mm lens and shooting all broncolor gear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So there were moments where I was using the broncolor Scoro pack to freeze water and freeze glitter.
Yeah.
And then I was just using Minicoms, Cyros, and Scoro.
Yeah.
I think we were using like 11 or 12 lights.
Yeah. And from my knowledge of you in store as well, you're not a gear snob. You don't really care, apart from obviously using the Canon gear. It's one lens, one body. It's all about the process, not about the tools, right?
100%. And most of my assistants are mind blown that I just don't care about gear.
Yeah.
I don't look after it well. I don't care what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know it that well. For me, the most important thing on a photographic shoot is the experience.
Yeah.
For me, that is everything.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many, well, when you think about it, like, yes, the client knows I'll get a good shot, but when a client leaves that day, they're like, oh my God, that was just the best day. I had so much fun.
Yeah.
They never walk away and go, oh my God, thanks for an awesome shot.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
it's always the fun. It's always the excitement.
Yeah.
We're people. We're people. We're in the people business.
Yeah.
You know, we're there to not only deliver a product, but we're there to make that day a whole lot of fun and a joyous experience. Because it's a big investment.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
So they've got to get it all.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Obviously, you've got some other work as well. Coming into this creative process again, photographers that inspire you, is that how did you come about doing the composite sort of stuff? When did that start?
I don't know why or how.
Because it's a very particular style of photography.
It is, and I don't know how to describe it.
It's not something you just walk into as such.
No, I think it was probably because I like to think I'm a storyteller.
Yeah.
And I want to bring art to photography.
Yeah.
I want photography to be the outlet of my stories, not just a capture.
Yeah.
So for me, I needed people, and I needed theatrics, and I needed movement and energy. And I think that's just a natural progression as to how my photography has gone.
Yeah.
And then it was just self-taught Photoshop. I had no fucking idea what I was doing in Photoshop. I was just self-taught. I'm dodging, burning everything. I'm just like, the image is breaking apart, but I'm like, who cares? Because it looks cool. Just add green and blue and just kind of fudge it, right?
Yeah.
But no one can see that.
Yeah.
I can see it when I'm zooming in, zooming out, zooming in.
Yeah.
But the end product is seen on a screen or a billboard at 72 DPI.
Yeah.
No one can see the mistakes.
No.
So many people get caught up in, the destruction of the image and the noise. It's like, no one gives a shit, you know?
Yeah.
So you probably got to beep all this because it's going online.
We're probably going to have an R rating after this. But...
sorry. But no one cares. So it was just me dodging and burning and playing and enhancing the textures in the face and the buttons and the shirt and the wrinkles just to all make it pop out. And that's just because I wanted it to tell more of the story. I wanted it to pop.
Yeah.
What style that is, I don't know. I was never taught how to do it. It just is. But now you look at any retouchers, all their stuff is amazing. I can't even do close to what they're doing.
Yeah.
The industry has definitely overtaken me, and that is now why I'm starting to handball all my retouching off, because they're doing it better.
Yeah.
And I just want to be more on the camera side.
Yeah.
I don't want to retouch.
I'd consider you the old school photographer, and that not only you're obviously getting the image, but it's all about the relationship with the client, relationship with the talent. And that, I guess, is exemplared in the collage or the composition work that you do, because it's really from start to finish, that's all your ideas.
Yeah.
And, you know,
but you also need the client to feel invested. You want them to feel important.
Yeah.
So I often bring them over. So, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think? Should we go left, right? What do you think? How do you think you can make it better?
Yeah.
So I definitely allow them to invest into it.
Yep.
They're not always right and they're not always wrong.
No.
But sometimes, because I'm so in it, I can be too in it and I'm not looking at it laterally. I'm not stepping back where they are. They're often criticizing it. If I'm shooting away going, just smile here, give me a quirk. They're like, that doesn't work for our brand.
Yeah.
So they can, and I'm thinking it's good, but they'll come and go, Damien, that's great, good stuff, but that's not our brand. That's not what we want. How about this? I'm like, of course, that's exactly what we should be doing.
Yeah.
So it's nice. And I definitely encourage that.
And I guess with the creative process and dealing with the client and getting the end result the client wants, how do you mesh those ideas together without going too far in one direction, going too far in what the client wants and too far what you might want from a particular image?
I think going back to my rough split up of the creative composite work to my bread and butter, a lot of it's dictated by the client. But they've got a mood board, they've got a scamp, they've got a pretty close result that they want to achieve before you approach shoot day or on shoot day. So everyone's on board already. It's not only until we do composites like this are the clients going in blind. But if clients have commissioned me for this, they've relinquished all control. They're just like, we want you and we trust you. Because you've done it before and we love it. So it's easy. So I think everyone goes into all my shoots knowing the result. There's no risk.
And I guess touching back to your creative process, are you doing it with a particular shoot or client in mind when that process is being developed? Or is it more so it's just at the time, at the moment? Like, obviously knowing, let's say you have a big client shoot in a couple of weeks, is it something you're actively thinking about, or you're more just, it is?
Always. You're trying to artificially create it in your head. and how you want to build it, how you want to light it, what story, what's the sort of underlying theme, pardon me, and how will that reflect good on the client?
Yeah.
Will it reflect the brands? Will they be happy with it?
Yeah.
So you've got all these ideas going around. Okay, I want to be an artist.
Yep.
Oh shit, that's not going to work because the client's over here going, but I've got to put my logo on it.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So yes, there's this constant little battle in your head leading up to shoot day.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It still amazes me just how close, though, when I have an idea from almost day one to shoot day and then the end of the shoot day, just how close they do align.
Yeah, sure.
It doesn't stray too much. I don't know if I answered that properly, but
that's good.
my ideas or my concept doesn't stray too far from what I originally thought. But I'm very conscious not to be too narcissistic and just go away from what the client wants. Like, they're paying me, they're investing in me. So I like to think that it'll work and it will generate income for them.
Yep.
And that's important. So yeah, you've almost got to start with that in mind, that the client's on your side.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well,
they're not necessarily on your side, but you've got to be on their side, you know?
Yeah.
I probably didn't answer that right, but it's just, I'm going to try and answer it again, but I can't. I'm trying to package that up.
That's all right.
I can't.
That's all right.
Sorry, viewers. That was just a mumble jumble.
It might come back to you.
It might.
Speaking of another one with clients in mind, we've got the one that you did for CameraPro a couple of years ago. We might pop that on the screen because that one for me, I don't know if CameraPro gave you an idea there. How did this one come about? Because this one is particularly interesting in terms of the result.
Yeah, so this is the image here. It did start with, CameraPro said, we want you to do a workshop alongside some other photographers. We want you to do what you're known for. And for me, it was creative compositions or creative composites. And what I wanted to do, or what the theme or the message here was, how to create a composite image cheaply. Now, again,
this is all one day as well.
This was done in not even a full day, half day, I think. So I said, well,
while you're teaching people at the same time.
Well, yeah, I love it. That's a good challenge. So I said, well, creating composites can be easy and it can be affordable. People often think they're big budgets, and people have big budgets, you have big clients and so much time. It's actually not the case. It's actually the opposite. Like I actually wrote a comment while I was driving here to someone on Facebook saying, oh, if only I had the budgets and clients like Damien. It's like, well, no, I'm Brisbane trained. I'm trained how to cut corners. I'm trained how to do shitty rigs and bend the rules to match and fit within a budget. And this was exactly that. I wanted to do a workshop with people that don't necessarily get the big clients or the big budgets. So let's do it. And we did this. So what we did, we bought an image. I think I bought 2 images off Shutterstock. I think maybe for like $20 or $30, and went, right, that's the basis for our composite. And then we shot all the elements here in your studio to match the background. So we had to take in things. What we had to take in a perspective was the lighting, first and foremost, and then the perspective. And we had to match that. So it was a bit of massaging around with the lighting. It was a bit of massaging with the angles.
We didn't give you an easy time from memory.
No, it wasn't, but we got a great result out of it. And this is the result. And I have a video on that. Do you want to see the video? It's another behind the scenes.
We'll show you basically the layer by layer, or is it behind the scenes?
There is at the end, so let's.
Some fantastic insight. This is a part, I guess, that most people don't see normally. So this is it's pretty damn cool.
And this is just a quick 1 minute snapshot of behind the scenes. Autistic child.
Nice, keep it up.
He's zoned in.
Give it twist more to your left.
Yeah, and that's how it came
Unreal.
together.
Unreal.
So I know everyone's kind of interested in the bits here. I'm happy to pause it and talk it through. But these essentially were the stock images that we bought. I bought two. You can see one's here a bit blue, one's a bit yellow, and then an exterior.
Yes.
Shooting these individually.
Yep.
Obviously, what was really important, it doesn't show you in the video here, but obviously we had to line up. You can see lining up the rope.
Yes.
We had to line those up, and we had to match it.
Meanwhile, as I said before, he's teaching a class through this as well. So he's doing this live as it was happening.
So it's not perfect. It's not perfect. But I spent, after the class, I think I spent maybe a day and a half retouching it.
You got it back pretty quickly from memory.
Yeah, so that was, if you think $30, let's say this was a real shoot, a real talent, a real client paying shoot.
Yep.
Looking at $30 for background, you'd be looking at stylist Shy Parsons from Shy Designs and her two assistants. They probably were beyond about $1,500. Now, I did go extravagant on that side because I just loved her stuff and I wanted to incorporate it into one of mine.
Sure.
So that's not always required. A stylist is something we can all do. We go to Kmart, go to Target, we buy the clothes, take them back. And we do that all the time, keep the tags on. So you don't have to go that expensive. So you're looking at $30, so $1,500 for stylists. Photographer, I'm $3,000 a day. I had two assistants, or one assistant rather, $450. So it's 3.5 plus 15. So what are we at? $5 grand, I think we're at now. So we're at $5 grand. And then a day and a half of retouching at $1,200 a day is $1,800. So that's it's a $6,800. Oh, and then $6,800. Then I had a set designer to do this, which was the bird cage or the bird nest.
Yes.
And she would have been on about $800 a day. So what are we at? 6,800? No. We're around that $7,000, $7,500 mark.
Yeah.
Which is okay. And then I think the everything else was, I think this was, I think that was an op shop lamp, this here. So that was like probably $20. So you're looking about $7.5 grand per shot.
Yep. Fantastic.
That's on the expensive side because of probably, $1,500 went to the stylist.
Sure.
And the photographer, he's so expensive.
Yeah, that guy.
That guy.
Oh, awesome. And I guess the creative process for this one, what would that look like? Is that something that started from an idea traditionally before CameraPro approached you?
No, it was almost like the awards.
Right.
You guys had booked me in for a long time, and it wasn't until the night before I realized what I was going to do.
Yeah, right.
Because I booked a hotel here, so I didn't have to drive and panic.
Yeah.
And it's like, sitting up, going, what am I going to do? What am I going to create?
Yeah.
I had already the team, but I didn't necessarily know the idea or the location.
Yes.
I kind of had a rough idea, but I didn't know how it was all going to come together.
Yeah, sure.
Until I really stumbled across a couple of these background images.
Yeah.
And then there I thought, well, let's go dark, let's go moody, let's go dramatic. And this is where I'm going to place my talent, because I can put one on the stairs, I can put one in the foreground, and just one in the middle. Keep it simple. I didn't have to overcomplicate it. But I was stressing myself out the night before, not knowing exactly what I was going to shoot.
Sure.
But then
is that common? Is that something that will usually come together under pressure? Do you thrive under that pressured environment to a degree?
I do.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to provide a good result, but I wanted to wow you guys. I wanted to put on a show. I wanted to have that whole experience that I talk a lot about.
Yep.
And I think I gave you guys that. So that
Absolutely.
was probably more of the stress than the photographic ability of it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I could do that in my sleep,
Yep.
but it was trying to bring it all together.
Mm.
And then just by default, I went back to personal experience.
Yeah.
I went, okay, well, if I'm struggling to create an idea, just go back to a feeling and a time
Yep.
and interpret that. And I did that.
Wow.
And this is called pure evil. The girl in the middle being pure,
Yes.
her restrained by evil on the outside.
Yeah.
And that's where this came from.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, just quickly on touching on finally, I guess, gear and Canon and why you choose Canon, I guess, with your gear. It's been like 22 years or something now with
Yeah, nice.
sort of
22
coming
years.
from that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep. 22 years Canon boy.
Yep. And you started to make a bit more of a pivot now towards the mirrorless systems.
Love it. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know
Should have done it a
traditionally
long time ago.
that 5DSI, I think you brought it in a couple of times, needed to be sanitized. Like it'd been through a lot.
It did?
And yeah.
Jesus. Sounds weird.
And now you're starting to switch over to the R5?
Yes, I have the R5.
Yep. Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. And you're starting to get some of the RF glass now as well?
Yes, tonight I'm going to buy my second RF lens, which
Yep.
is the 1535,
Yep.
I think. See, I'm
Correct.
not even a tech wizard or
Yep.
of gear. I don't even know the gear, but I'm going over to the RF lenses slowly.
And for people out there that are going to go, oh, well, Damien's a big photographer. He'll just, get gear given to him or good pricing.
I wish.
Never been something that's really happened.
No. And that's okay. You got to. I think you don't appreciate it unless you bought it, and you strive for it.
Yep.
And at the same time, you don't have to own the latest gear to create good images. You just don't.
Yep.
I remember winning Australian Commercial Photographer of the Year and upset so many people in my speech because I went up on stage, and this must have been like 2008 or 10 or something like that, maybe older, and I shot it on. Was it a Canon Sure Shot?
Yeah.
Do you remember those little things? And the lens went.
Yeah. With a little pop-up flash.
Yeah. And I won Australian Photographer of the Year on that out of that camera.
Right.
But it's not about the camera. The camera doesn't create the images. You create the images.
Correct.
The camera just captures it.
Yep.
And I've never been the first to jump on gear. I'm a slow adopter of that. You can even ask my assistants. It's all held together by gaffer tape.
Yeah.
It's dirty. It's broken.
Yeah.
They're often spending more time fixing it on set than just doing other stuff they should be doing. But gear doesn't make you a photographer.
No.
And people get way too caught up on that. That's the last thing you should focus on.
Yeah. You're a big vision guy, and I like it. I really like the fact that you get really stuck in with the process, because
100%.
the bigger you are, sometimes I think in photography, the more hands off you are. I think the opposite would apply to you.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, great. Awesome. Well, I think that's about time, guys. I think that's been a really good opportunity. You were a bit nervous coming on, but hey, it didn't look it.
Okay.
Didn't look it. But yes, Damien, how do people contact you? How do they follow you? What's the best channel?
Mobile phone.
Yep.
I'm allowed to say that on the interweb.
Yep.
0411 274 056 or my OnlyFans account.
Oh, jeez.
Just kidding. Just Google my name, Damien Bredberg. I think there's only one of me in the world.
Yep.
So there should be.
It's always a good start.
Just either website, Instagram, all the usuals. But yeah, Damien Bredberg. You'll find me somewhere.
Done.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But reach out, especially for all those coming through the ranks. Please,
you
please
do
reach out.
take on people that ask as well.
100%.
I've seen that happen.
Yeah. So everyone out there, you're more than welcome to come on our shoots, providing that it's the right client, the right setting.
Yep.
Come along, tag along. I do expect you to get involved and get dirty, not sit around and just watch. So yeah, by all means, come along and learn.
Fantastic. Damien, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it
you very much. Now, if anyone wants to stay in touch with CameraPro and upcoming events and things that we are doing, we've got the YouTube channel, CameraPro AU, also on Instagram. We do have another very talented photographer coming up, not in the not too distant future, Emily Abay. She's a fashion photographer and a Canon ambassador. So that's going to be June 7th. same time, 6:30 p.m. But from us here and for Damien as well, thank you very much. Thanks for joining in, and take care.